think I will start the webinar, so we won't talk anymore. And when we get, to 5 minutes before, I'll start telling people how to ask questions, and then I'll introduce you when at noon.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So no more messing with the slideshow for now.
Right.
Okay.
So Katie and Elizabeth, you're comfortable with how you would give a question to the one that's talking at the time?
Yeah.
Like, would you write it out separately, or how are you guys going to do that?
No, Katie, well, when I'm talking, Katie will be monitoring the question pane, and if she finds a question that is relevant and useful, she will signal me to stop talking, and she will ask the question, and then I will answer it.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
I had asked them that before you came on, Terry.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right,
so
I'm going to mute.
And I have the chat pane set to, let's see, organizers and panelists only. So if you want to type something in there, you can. And
okay.
the question pane will be for audience.
Great.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Christine Vokey, Director of Education and Information at PXE International, and you have joined our webinar titled How to Use Social Media with Elizabeth and Terry and Katie Zacharkiw presenting. We will wait a few minutes to let a few more people join. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you can type your questions into the question pane, which you will see on the right-hand side of the screen within the control panel. You can enlarge that question screen, type in your question, and hit send, and the presenters will see your questions and will answer them at appropriate times. Good afternoon again. I'm Christine Vokey from PXE International. I'm the Director of Education and Information, and you have joined our webinar on how to use social media presented by Elizabeth Terry and Katie Zacharkiw. For your information, if you have any questions during the webinar, you can type them into the question pane. You'll find the question pane on the right-hand side within the control panel. You type your question in and hit send, and the moderators and the presenters will see it and will answer it at the appropriate time. I would now like to introduce our presenters. Elizabeth Terry is our Executive Director of PXE International, and she grew up in Sharon, Massachusetts with two very special parents, Sharon and Patrick Terry. Sharon and Pat founded PXE International when Elizabeth and her brother were diagnosed with PXE in 1995. Now, 15 years later, she is helping us run the organization at the helm as the Executive Director. Elizabeth was homeschooled until 7th grade. When she began attending a small private school in Massachusetts, she graduated from St. Andrews Episcopal High School in 2006 and then attended and graduated from the University of Maryland in College Park, where she completed a studio art and design degree. She also spent 5 months studying art history and politics in London. She's very committed to growing PXE International, and one of the many great things she's done is put PXE International out there in the social media world, and has brought a lot of new life and blood to the organization. Katie Zacharkiw is our webmaster and outreach coordinator, and she joined PXE International in July 2010. Katie graduated from Syracuse University in Syracuse, New York with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science and Economics. She enjoys outdoor activities, biking, hiking, and scuba diving when she's not working for PXE International. Again, if you have questions, you can type them into the question pane, which you will find on the right-hand side of your screen, and hit send, and we will see the questions from this end, and they will be answered at appropriate times during the presentation. So with that, I will hand it over to Elizabeth and Katie, and welcome both of you, and thank you for preparing this for us.
Thanks, Chris, for helping us set this up. All right. So social media is obviously something that's taken hold of at least my generation and pretty much everyone else. Two of the mechanisms that people use today are Twitter and Facebook, which are the two that we're going to talk about today because they are the two that PXE International uses. So, Facebook. Facebook is both great and sometimes very frustrating. One good thing to know is that Facebook is constantly changing and hardly ever lets you, do exactly what you want. And no one is an expert in Facebook because it's constantly changing and everyone is always frustrated. So if you're frustrated to begin with, just know that you're not alone. So when you come to the first page, if you type in facebook.com, you'll come to this page where it'll give you the sign up section where you can put in all of your information and get an account. I already have an account, obviously, so I'll sign into my account here. Ooh, my password has changed. That's interesting. Let's see. Here we go. So when you first sign into Facebook, it will take you to your news feed, which is all of your friends and all of the things they've put on Facebook today or in the last hour or however long. How many friends you have determines how busy your news feed is. And they're your friends and they're you. So earlier today, 36 minutes ago, I put this status up about presenting this webinar. Or they're, things you follow, like this greengrocer is an organic farming community, and they will update with pictures and, recipes and things like that. So you can find all of those things on your wall, and it goes on forever because you can keep scrolling until it's, the beginning of Facebook, which is quite a long time. So your profile will be, your home base. So it'll have your profile picture, your name, and all of the information you're willing to share with your friends. And your info will have, your employer, college, high school, beliefs, and then all the things you're interested in. So you can list your movies and television and music and all the general things that people ask about you when they're trying to get to know you. And you'll always have these little areas that say edit. So if you click that, it'll bring up your information, and you can change any of this on the fly. And so you can do that for any of the sections, as you see here. You also have all of your photos, so photos you've taken and put up, like this picture of some dogs that I put up a while ago. And then you can see all of your albums. And you can put up photos and tag people in photos, which means you'll have a picture of someone who's your friend, and you will say, this is so-and-so, and then they will see that photograph. Facebook just introduced questions, which are just questions you can ask your friends, like, of all of these places in the world, where have you been? And they will answer, and you can answer all of these questions, and then they'll show up in your questions area. And notes, which is just longer posts. So, someone says something that you want to reply to long, you can do that and then tag people in a note. And then all of your friends, who obviously you find. There are many different ways to find your friends on Facebook. There are friend finders that goes through your email, and then you can click on another friend of yours to find more friends and all of that. And you have a wall. So a wall is like, it's not really like anything else. It's a place where all of your information that you put up shows up, but also people can write on your wall, and then other information shows up. Like yesterday I wrote on Sue's wall, happy birthday, and that'll show up on my wall because I did that. So that might be a little bit confusing, but definitely get the hang of it. And then the other thing that Facebook does that is so great is you can connect with your groups. And they just changed this today, so this is really up-to-the-minute information. So here's PXE International's group. And you'll see people have posted on the group's wall various questions, and we got a picture of a little baby who's great and healthy, and that's exciting. And so it's a great way to connect with the community and to ask questions and to answer questions, make friends, meet new people. Obviously, the questions people have are probably the most, what people use this wall for the most. But you're definitely welcome to post pictures and all of that great stuff. So over here you can click View Photos, and you can see, here's our research meeting that we had in November, and then down here is our meeting in September, our patient meeting, where we celebrate our 15th anniversary. So these are all great party pictures of people dancing. And all of those are tagged. You can go click through there and see people and then friend them through there as well. One thing that did get removed or slightly changed is we used to have a section called Discussions, which we don't have anymore. They've removed it for some reason. It's very hard to tell why Facebook changes things, but they often decide that they want to change something. So what I think we've discovered is that we can do our discussions. You can ask your questions by creating a document. So you create a document. Here I'll create a test document, and you can create that document, and it'll show up right here at the top of the wall. And then you can like the document or comment on the document, and you can say whatever you'd like, and then that way you could have a discussion post where you wouldn't be able to create a document before, but now you can create a document, and maybe that will become a better way to ask questions. I guess we'll have to discover that together. Here we go. Now I can just delete my document, and there you go. The other thing that might be slightly more difficult to find is events. So PXE International has events like this webinar, and our regional meetings and our biannual meetings. So now if you go into your events section, not PXE International's events section, your events section, which is up here with your messages and your news feed and your friends, you can find the event that you've been invited to. And here's our event. And events are great because you can say, you can get invited to an event, say like a picnic, and you can say, yes, I would love to come, and then you will have this central area where everyone who goes to the picnic will be able to ask questions, answer questions, say, oh no, I can't come, and all of that. So it's a really centralized way to do this, and that is definitely great. Do we have any questions? Let's see here. No questions. Facebook?
Elizabeth, this is Chris. I do have a question.
Okay.
Can you explain a bit of why Facebook has the structure it does about the founder, and how you think, or you might, we just don't know how decisions are made, kind of that history?
Sure. So you may have seen the movie Social Network, which is a slightly fictionalized version of what happened. But so the founder of Facebook founded it in college as a way to get to know his classmates, or a way to control his classmates' information, I guess you could say. And he opened it up to other schools, and it became a college-only sort of site. And then about, I think like 6 or 7 years ago, it was opened up to anyone who was in high school could also join. And then several years after that, they opened it up to everyone. So now you don't, originally you had to have a email address that ended in edu, so you had to be from a university. But now you can use any email address. You could make an email address today and start a Facebook profile at the same time. There's no controls over that. So now that everyone can be on Facebook, the purpose has become broader. It's not just about meeting your friends who you go to class with every day. It's about maybe finding new friends or finding old friends who you've fallen out of touch with. I'm friends with some people I haven't actually spoken to in 8 or 9 years from middle school, but I'm able to keep up with their lives, and they're able to see what I'm doing without any extra effort on our part, which is, I'm guessing, a big thing for my generation, because we tend to be a little less go-getter for stuff like that. But it also does open up some problems like your privacy, which is a big issue. And Facebook does allow you to control a lot of your privacy with sections like you can make it so everyone can see everything, or you can say only friends of friends can see my information, or friends only. Or you can make it a custom where you can say pictures are okay for people to see, but my information I don't want anyone to see. Stuff like that. And you can customize all the settings on your page quite easily from this area under Accounts and Privacy Settings. Thank you. Sure. All right. I will pass this presentation over to my colleague here to talk about Twitter.
Hi, okay, so we're going to talk about Twitter a little bit, and I'll just give you a very, very short history. Twitter has been around since 2006, so it's a little bit newer than Facebook. And a recent BBC article reported that the Twitterverse, as it's called, has an estimated 200 million users and generates 65 million tweets per day, so that's quite a bit. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the Twitter page here. So this is what the landing page of Twitter looks like once you already have your account, and I'll show you how to set up an account at the end of this. And so over here on the left, this is called the wall, your Twitter wall. And this is also called the timeline. And it's in reverse chronological order, so the newer tweets will be at the top here, and the older ones will be at the bottom. And a tweet is what these individual posts are called. And so these are all tweets from followers that PXE International follows. So you can see here, you can make them bigger. And you can also see that there are 34 new tweets, so clicking on that, and the newer ones will show up at the top. So Twitter functions on the concept of followers, and over here on the right, you can see that PXE International follows 171 different user accounts, and we're followed by 106. So if we click on this, these here are all of the users that follow PXE. And we follow some of them and some of them don't. And what this means is that our tweets that we post will show up on all of these people's timelines back here on their home page. So anything that we write, they can see, which makes it easy to post events or anything else. And we'll go back over here. I'm going to explain a few things. There we go. So I'll show you all of these actually in the Twitter interface in a second, but there are a few symbols to know. The first one here is the @ sign, and the @ symbol precedes the username, and if you include a username in your tweet, it's called a mention and causes that tweet to appear on that user's timeline. And again, I will show you all of this. RT stands for retweet, which means forwarding another user's tweet from your own account, and that way all of your followers can see that other person's tweet, even if they don't follow that person. And the last one that's very useful to know is the hashtag. This indicates a topic. And what this means is that if you can post a tweet, and if you include a hashtag with a word or whatever after it, it will come up as a link, and you can see if other people have used that same link in their tweet. And if many users tweet with the same hashtag, a trending topic is created. And I will show you what that means right now. So back over here, we'll start with mentions. So if you click up here on mentions, these are all of the people, all of the users that have ever tweeted towards PXE. So you can see here the Genetic Alliance Biobank tweeted about this, and here is @PXE, and they tweeted towards others too. So they also have mentioned @PSO Research. And then down here, you see that's tweeted more and more @people. It will show up on everyone's Twitter wall. And it's just an easy way for you to see what other people are tweeting. It can help you find new followers and see what topics are happening. And so if you go back here, we'll click on retweets, or retweets by others. So these are everyone that PXE follows. These are every tweet that other users have retweeted. So you can see here that AAPD has tweeted this, but we don't follow AAPD, but we do follow this disability rights here. And because disability rights has retweeted it, we can see it on our wall. So that's another way to spread news, spread information, and get tweets from one user to another. And then the last thing up here, if we go to our profile, this is your profile, which just shows your tweets. You can see here that yesterday we tweeted about this webinar, and I've made it so the webinar has a hashtag before it, and this makes it a topic. So if I click on this, I can see all the other Twitter users that have used the hashtag webinar, and I don't follow, PXE doesn't follow almost any of these, but you can still see people who are tweeting about it. And it's just another way to find information. So now I'll show you, once you have your account, if you actually want to tweet something, you click up in here in what's happening, and I could write, the social media webinar is underway. And click tweet. And now this is there. This is live on Twitter, and if you were signed on right now, you would see it show up. So it's very, very quick. It's an excellent way to spread news. And another thing I can show you up here is called a direct message. Twitter is in many ways almost like texting. You can send direct messages to people and that other users can't see, just that user will see. So here's a direct message that we sent to Elizabeth before, and we can go ahead and send her another one. Something very simple, and click send. And now this will show up as on Elizabeth's Twitter feed to her, but no one else will be able to see it. It just goes directly from PXE to Elizabeth. So that's another useful way to send people messages and not have anyone else see it. And then one other thing I can show you that Twitter can do are lists. And PXE International doesn't use many lists, but I still want to take a second to show you what they are. So we'll go to the Genetic Alliance page. They do use them. Up here you see the word lists. You can click on it. You go down here. Lists they're ways for you to see other people's Twitter accounts without actually having to follow them. You can subscribe to a list and follow a list, and it doesn't show up on your main timeline, but you can still see the list's timeline. So this is a list that was created by this person here, and it's sort of an aggregation of all things for science that he has found, that he has decided to follow. And so you can click in and you can read, and these will all be mostly about the same topic, and it's just a way for you to go through and see what's happening in this particular area. So now we'll take a second to talk about, there are three main ways that Twitter is used, and the first is personal use, and these are two examples of tweets that I pulled off of Twitter. I don't know these people. This guy's talking about classes and the weather, and this woman's talking about lunch. So the personal use side of Twitter are sort of things that most people wouldn't be interested in, but if you know those people, then they're your friends, you might be interested to know what's going on. And the second way that Twitter is used, which a lot of times can be the most interesting in terms of what makes it into the mainstream news too, are that a lot of times something will break and a rumor will be started, and it will start tweeting, and it will just keep getting tweeted and tweeted and retweeted by so many people. And the example that I have here is from last weekend when President Obama announced the death of Osama bin Laden. And so this is a pretty cool chart that I found. And you can see that at 9:45 p.m. on that night, the White House announced that Obama was going to be giving a speech. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. There we go. Sorry, some technical difficulties. Okay. So at 9:45, the White House announced Obama's speech. And then shortly before 10:30, the rumor that Osama bin Laden had been killed came out. And you can see from the chart here how much the Twitterverse exploded at this news. It just kept getting retweeted and retweeted and retweeted. And the next day, Twitter reported that between 10:45 p.m. until 2 a.m. the next morning, there was an average of 3,000 tweets per second. And around 11, shortly before 11, half an hour before Obama confirmed the news, there was a record-breaking 5,106 tweets per second. And I haven't done the math, but that is a lot. So you can certainly see how news spreads very, very fast on Twitter. And we'll go to the third way that Twitter is used, and this is the way that PXE International uses it, which is a tool for organizations to get information out to their members. So these are just 2 other examples that I found, and this first one here from Baby's First Test is an example of a more informational tweet. It's about a meeting that whoever was running the Twitter account was at and what was going on at the meeting and just news. And the second one here by the Genetic Alliance Biobank is actually asking followers to participate in a survey. So Twitter can also be a way for organizations to involve their members and let them know what's going on and just gain information. I'm going to show you PXE's Twitter account. Let's go back into our profile here at the top. So here's our tweet. It's now showed up on the Twitter feed. So PXE uses our Twitter account. We announce events. We announce these webinars, regional meetings. We'll point to, for example, every Wednesday here we've been pointing to past webinars, so we'll point to website features. We've highlighted articles that have come out, upcoming e-newsletters, and we just use it as a way to let our community know what's going on and how you can participate. So we have that. Now I'll show you how to set up your own Twitter account very, very quickly. So here, if you just type in twitter.com without signing in or anything, this is the first screen that you'll see. And you can see over here on the right, it says new to Twitter, join today. So you'll need your just full name, email address, and password. And you will have to confirm your account by email, so make sure you use one that you'll actually look at. And then I actually already created one, so we didn't have to confirm on email. Go ahead and sign in. So then when you first make your account, this is the page that will show up. And it will tell you over here on the left where your timeline normally would be that your page is looking mighty bare because you're not actually following anyone yet. And it will give you some suggestions on what to follow. So you can look at your interest here, and let's say that we're interested in health. So you can click on health, and these are all suggestions from Twitter. And you may not care about any of them, and you may care about all of them. So we'll just say that we're going to follow CBS Health. So we click follow. And so now we are following them, and they would show up over here. So now we have a timeline. So that's all of them. And then you can also find your friends. If you know their Twitter usernames, you can find them, or you can search for anything. Searching for PXE would show, here's people over here. So you can see PXE is right here. We could follow PXE. And you just keep following and following and following until you have a timeline with everything that you're interested in. You can see what's going on, and then people can follow you, and you can tweet what you want to tweet, and people can just know what's going on with you. So there's one more area that I'm going to show you. That's if you go into settings. This is where you can manage your account. So right here, the first thing that shows up is the account tab, and you can add any information that you want. You can change your email or change the language, change the time zone, whatever you need to do. But the most important part of this is down here in tweet privacy. So Twitter accounts are public by default, which means that everyone can see your tweets. But if you don't want everyone to see your tweets, all you have to do is come here into setting, click protect my tweets, and save. And it will make you type in your password. And then only the people who you approve of will be able to see what you're writing. This is also where you change your password up here. You can change notifications, so you get email notifications if someone starts following you or if you receive a message. Over here in profile is where you can customize. So if you wanted to add a picture of yourself, so right now this shows up as our username in name, but if I wanted to show that it's me, I could write my name in. I could write that I'm in Washington, D.C. I could add a website or a very short bio of myself. Over here in design, you can change the look of it. So right now it's clouds, but if I wanted it to be purple, there's some purple. And it's just a way for you to really just customize it and make it look the way that you want it to look. It's really easy. And the last thing that I will show you is the help. So if you click up here on your name, and then click on Help. It will take you to the Twitter support and Twitter basics right there at the top. And this will answer almost every question that you could possibly have, from what does this mean to I can't get this to work to I want to do this, how do I do it? And it's a very, very thorough help section, and it's very helpful. I've used it on more than one occasion. And that's pretty much it. That's all you need. That's all you need to get started. And I hope that we will see you following PXC International.
Thank you, Katie. I have a question. Again, it's Chris, and I think you might be able to tell I'm of a generation that I've never used Twitter. So I wonder, you said you gave an email address. Do you always go to the website to view your tweets, the tweets you follow, or do you get emails about them?
You go to the website to see the tweets that you follow. There are other ways to get Twitter. Twitter is available on, for example, smartphones. There are applications you can download, Twitter for iPhone, but the majority of people will use Twitter from the website itself. Mm-hmm. So you might get emailed. There is actually, I believe, a way to set up so you get a text message if a certain person that you have specified tweets. So then it becomes even more like texting. But in general, you will not get an email every time someone that you follow tweets.
That's good. And I've watched you guys getting really useful information, like the Washington D.C. metro system, where where there's a track breakdown and something's delayed. So how do you do that? You follow the metro system, or?
Yeah, that's a good example. I do follow the D.C. metro system, and it will say when there are delays, when there's track maintenance. I found it just because it was something I was interested in, and I wondered if the D.C. Metro had a Twitter account, and I just searched for it, and I found it.
And then it became very useful.
And then it became something that I look at all the time. So if you come up here into the search, and you were interested in, let's see if this makes it pop up, the D.C. Metro, and here it is, Metro Open Stores right here, and that's the official D.C. Metro Twitter account. So you can search. You don't have to search for a user. You can search for a thing, and it might show up with a user that you're interested in. Mm-hmm. And you can follow the weather or CNN, New York Times. Anything you can think of will have something related to it in the Twitterverse. And
news organizations, are they the ones that start those tweets that of big breaking news?
Oftentimes they are, but then just as often they're the ones that are confirming the tweets. So with Osama bin Laden, it was tweeted as a rumor from a staffer in Donald Rumsfeld's office. And then half an hour later, I think it was ABC News that confirmed it.
Oh.
And sometimes there'll be live tweeting, so tweeting as it's happening, and that will become the news.
Interesting. Well, if anyone else has any questions, you can, for those of you who might have joined a little bit late, you can type them into the question pane, which is found on the right side of the screen in the control panel. And Katie and Elizabeth, do you have anything else?
No, I'm just excited to see if we can get more people using these great tools.
I think I'm ready to try Twitter myself.
Great.
And we're also happy to help people who are having trouble in the future.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you for that thorough presentation, both Elizabeth and Katie. Do you have a closing slide with our upcoming webinars?
No, we don't.
Oh, okay. This has been the webinar, How to Use Social Media. If you have any questions about this or anything else about PXC International, you can email us at info@pxc.org. If you go to our website, www.pxc.org, you can find information on upcoming webinars. And right now I can't bring up what they are, but there are some more coming up. And hope you will all begin to follow us on Twitter and hear about all the new research projects coming up and how you can participate. Again, Elizabeth and Katie, thank you for all the work you've done and for doing this presentation for us. And with that, our webinar is concluding.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.